Buonasera. My name is Chris Ying, and today we're winning Mealtime. If your house is anything like mine, you just feel like you're in constant competition, constant conflict with your children at the dinner table, trying to get them to eat something. And if it happens to be something that you're also willing or happy to eat, even better. And today's recipe for chicken piccata is something that fits that exact bill. My wife doesn't give me that many compliments. God love her, but there's plenty of stuff about me that's worth complimenting. Last night she called the ribs I made inedible. But you know what? She likes my chicken piccata. She keeps coming back for the piccata. And luckily the kids like it too. I make it, here's why chicken piccata is so good. I make it different basically every single time, but so long as there's lemon, butter, something salty, doesn't have to be capers, but it usually is. You get this delightful gravy to go with breaded chicken cutlets. And it's really, really, really hard to go wrong with that. You can use dark meat, you can use light meat, whatever you want to do. Today we're gonna make chicken breast piccata. I'm gonna do it in the style that I made most recently, which is different than I usually make it, but like I said, it's almost foolproof. So it all starts with chicken. Chicken breast today. And I am generally more of a leg and thigh man than a breast man. But in this application, fine, whatever, all good. I'm gonna separate this tender. Oh, look at that, they give me another tender. Because once I start pounding this thing out, these are gonna fall off anyway, so might as well separate them for the time being. Like I said, generally I'm not into chicken breasts, but breaded and fried and coated in savory, lemony deliciousness, I'll accept them. I literally made this last night. 2 nights ago? What did I make last night? I made ribs last night. 2 nights ago, I made chicken piccata with mashed potatoes and some cauliflower. And I didn't get dinner started until I got home from work at 5:20. And this was on the table by 5:55. It won't go that quickly today because I'm not feeling that rushed. But
you made it in 30 minutes?
Yeah. It's fast. That's another reason why I like this dish, is just because it comes together pretty quickly. You gotta pound out this chicken. That's the only sort of semi-difficult or semi-unfamiliar part for most people. We'll be pounding out this chicken. You can use a rolling pin, which is what I use at home. I happen to have this very suggestive device. There's not much to this other than 1/4 inch maybe. I don't like this thing. I don't like this. I'm gonna switch it up. Can I say I was really looking forward to playing with this today? I'll play with it after work. I need a rolling pin. I don't like it. I like this instead. For whatever reason I feel like this is giving me more control. It's hitting like a sort of more concentrated area, and you can kind of see I'm kind of going like across it a little bit.
I like the way you feather it.
Feather tap. Okay, that's pretty good. So we're gonna set this guy. You can see it's not, like I said, it's not paper thin. You're not making chicken carpaccio here. You're just trying to get something of cutlet thickness. Set that here. We'll pound out these tenders a little bit. And this is sort of, like, in addition to making it easier to cook, this is also breaking up some of those muscle fibers, and it is making it more tender. It's also crazy because, you serve this with pasta or potatoes, and one chicken breast will feed 4 people, honestly. So we will stow this chicken breast away for another use. Pounder goes in the sink. Okay. Let's season these while we're just sitting here babbling. Give it a little time to sink in. And now you can complicate things if you want. You can do a proper breading here, meaning 3 bowls, flour, egg, breadcrumbs. You would dip it in the flour first and then in the egg, shake off the excess into the breadcrumbs. Pretty standard breading procedure. When I'm trying to get it done quickly, and what I've been doing recently is just skipping that whole thing and just doing a 1-step dredge, because I don't care that much about the breading. Really, I just want a coating on the outside of the chicken, so I'm not just cooking, boring chicken breast and nothing. So I'm just gonna dredge it and skip all the extra bowls and mess, because again, winning mealtime is gonna come down to it's a war of attrition. Can I, as a parent, hold on to enough of my energy to outlast you as my child? So I'm gonna do a dredge of basically half AP flour and half whatever starch I have laying around. In this case, we have some potato starch. You don't have to use potato starch. You can use cornstarch, tapioca starch, whatever you got. We have some cornstarch here too, so I'll throw that in there. And this is actually, so this coating, a good amount of this coating is frankly, it's gonna come off in the pan. And that's fine, because it's gonna serve as a thickener for my sauce too, if I can time this all correctly and get it done properly. So, season this too. Forgot to heat my pan. So while that heats, I'm going to, I was going to get the rest of my stuff ready, but there's really nothing else to get ready. I've got some butter. There's really only a few ingredients in this sauce: butter, capers, lemon, and then a few little seasoning touches that you can sort of decide upon what you've got. You need some kind of umami-based sauce. I have fish sauce, and then you probably need a little sugar, which I've got. 2 nights ago when I made this, I happened to have this delightful chicken stock on hand, and I threw some of that into the sauce to give it a little more body. So today I'm gonna use, I don't have any wonderful, rich, Python style chicken stock, so I'm gonna use a little chicken bouillon with a little water, and hopefully that'll give the sauce a little more body too. But that's getting ahead of ourselves here. Hefty coating of olive oil. And then we're just going to, that's it, just kind of dredge and a thin layer. It doesn't have to be thick because it's going to fall off anyway and burn in that oil, so we don't need that much. Do it one more second to heat up while I do my other tenderloin. When I was a kid, my mom made something like this. She never called it piccata because I don't think she had ever heard of piccata. And I think hers was sort of modeled more off of Chinese American food. She would make lemon chicken, and it was just little dredged cutlets like this. With lemon. This big boy is not going to fit in the pan at the same time, I don't think, but I'm going to push it. This guy's also thicker. Does that fit in the pan? Not exactly. But we'll be okay. These will cook a little bit more in the sauce, but you want them pretty much cooked through and done here. And earlier I was saying I'm not much of a chicken breast man. I'm more of a leg and thigh dark meat guy. But I actually do think that the breast meat works better in a piccata in this sort of crunchy, wet situation than the thigh. For some reason, when I pound out the thighs, I want that white meat chew more than I want the dark meat tenderness. I'm flipping these a little earlier than one might think, earlier than they're actually browned. And this is not scientific, but in my brain, I'm thinking, oh, the oil, if I don't cook the cornstarch dredge into the meat, the oil will wash it away. So I'm using not science, unless somebody out there says that's actually valid reasoning. The tenders can come out. Just gonna let these drain for a minute. Truth be told, I should have pounded this breast more. But it's too late now. This is the moment, while this would be frying, is when I would put some potatoes in the microwave for mashed potatoes, or I'd throw my pasta in the water for some aglio e olio or something. This is when I would be getting my starches together. But I'll show you all those things eventually. But right now, I'm enjoying the luxury afforded to me by only having to make one thing at a time, which is rare. Sounds kind of gross, but when you can see the juices coming out and coagulating and turning white, your chicken's getting close to being done. I should have pounded this out thinner. I don't know why I got lazy. This is the right thickness. Ignore this. This is the right thickness here. 1/4 inch. It's more like a 1/2 inch. We actually have
Splatter guard. Splatter guard.
This is like some deeply my parents' style of cooking, is like a ridiculous splatter guard, because I can't stand splatter on the stove. I can't even stand it for as long as I'm cooking. I can't handle it being there, even though I know it's gonna keep accumulating and that I need to live with it. It's making me insane to see splatter on the stovetop. This is the reason why this is a little hacky, is you're trapping some steam. This is a porous thing, but you're still trapping steam, but you're preventing splatter. All right, I'm gonna turn this off for 1 second. I'm gonna pull our nicely brown little guy out of there. I'm gonna pour off a little of this fat, or most of this fat. Replace it with fresh butter. And so it's all gonna come together quickly from here. Butter goes in, unsalted. I'm gonna try to scrape up some of those bits, which are, again, that's the flour and the cornstarch, which is gonna help us out. I'm gonna add a little bit of this chicken bouillon. right? If your kids are very sensitive to things, like if you're looking at this and being like, my kid will never, that's a little water. If you're like, my kids will never eat capers, then you could just add the brine from the caper. That's what you're after. They're not gonna eat, my kids won't eat the capers anyway. But I'm gonna throw them in along, you could just add the brine because that's the same flavor. That's that salty caper flavor in there anyway. That's a little dad hack. If your kids will reject the capers, then just don't add them, just add the liquid. Juice from a lemon. I always do this where I squeeze it into my hand to catch the lemon seeds. And can I tell you something? I've never caught a lemon seed. They all end up in there. Juice from a lemon. And a little sugar. In this case, in the form of agave syrup. And then for me, it's fish sauce. For you, it could be soy sauce. It could be Worcestershire sauce. It could be Noma's mushroom garum. It could be nothing. I want a tiny bit more water. A tiny bit more sugar. Pepper. If your kids will stand it, some chopped parsley would be nice. If they won't stand for that kind of thing, don't make them. At this point, these little guys just go back in. This big mamma jamma goes back in. Save this rag. Just kidding, don't save that rag. Let it kind of coat everything. It doesn't take long. It doesn't need much. Like I said, the chicken was between 98 and 100% already cooked. See how the sauce is kind of thick and has body to it? That's all from the starches and flour that was on our chicken coating. I don't know why I broke that up. Just to be a jerk about it. And that's it. So this is another dish that falls into the rubric of sweet and sour and savory. Catnip for kids, kidnap. I'm getting some head shakes over that. Kidnip was not a appropriate term. So if you're trying to kidnap a kid, oh boy. I'm not trying to kidnap any kids. All right. Catnip for kids. That's chicken piccata. It needs mashed potatoes or it needs pasta. I could have added garlic to this. I don't know, I just forgot, but you could add garlic at home. I don't think it necessarily needs it, but man. Really just like so wonderful. It's essentially Italian General Tso's chicken, is what we're talking about here. And I'll just say, I think your kids are gonna like this. You saw it all came together pretty quickly. This is one of my emergency go-to. I don't have a lot of time. I didn't plan for anything. I'm home from work late. I have a chicken thigh, a chicken breast, some form of chicken poultry, anything. It could be a pork chop too. I've done pork chop with the same exact setup. You pound out a pork chop thin, do it piccata style. Always have an onion. This is a lemon. Always have a lemon handy. Always have capers in the pantry. Although we finally ran out yesterday and I had to use olives. But yeah, it's so simple and it's all about maximizing umami, giving some acidity and tempering it with a little sugar. Is this stove on? And don't leave your stove on when you have kids around. But yeah, that is your latest tool in winning mealtime. Hopefully this earns you a victory. I would say so far, and who knows what will happen, so far this dish is batting 1,000 in my house. And I've been making it with consistency, like consistently making this for 6-9 months, maybe a year, every couple of weeks. And we are so far batting 1,000 with this one. Hopefully you will too. But if not, come back and I'll show you some more stuff. Talk to you soon.